Hello, my name is Vera Mays, and I am one of the math specialists with the Learning Commons, and I am joined today by my colleague,
Jonathan Petit, a math specialist as well.
This is designed to be a very brief overview talking to you about the components of the math test and some of the types of questions, and then some suggestions on how to move forwards.
Yes, let's talk about the FTCE, General Knowledge Competency. And this test evaluates candidate ability in reading English language skills, writing, and mathematics. Therefore, the exam is broken into 4 sections, and we'll be focusing on the math subtest. And this is an examination of basic skill required of an individual wishing to pursue a degree in education or to be able to teach, also eligible to teach as well. And the outcome after this test, it's to have a basic foundation, to confirm a basic foundation for instruction for teachers of all levels, at all levels of teaching and instructions. And the competencies and skills assessed by the test are aligned by law to state standards.
So currently, the math subtest is 100 minutes long and consists of approximately 35 multiple choice questions. So if you do the math, this gives you 2.9 minutes per question approximately. Some will be shorter and some will take every minute that you have. So each question will test a specific competency. You will receive a formula/reference sheet to use, but we have found that this does not cover all shapes or formulas needed. You will also get access to a 4-function calculator. So we were thinking about how best to prepare for this, and this is kind of our thoughts on a good plan. So take the recommended pretest. The first time through, don't worry about time limits. Just see what you remember, what you need to refresh. I think you might be surprised. And then use whatever resources you have to look at examples on the ones you missed, such as Learning Commons handouts, Google your problem. There's also a lot of YouTube videos about studying for the math test. And then once you've figured out which ones you need help with, come to the Learning Commons and use the tutors. The tutor form that you were given will help you keep track of areas that you need the most help in. And then take the practice test again, see how much better you do. Maybe time yourself the next time that you go through. And keep repeating these steps until you'll feel comfortable and your score is in the passing range.
We have competencies in math part. And let's look at the competency 1 and 2. Competency 1 required knowledge of number sense, concept, and operations that deal with compare real numbers. That means you have to master the number line, understand how the numbers are aligned, solve real-world problems, including financial literacy, evaluate expression involving the order of operations. That means mastering PEMDAS. Competency 2, knowledge of geometry and measurement, identify simple 2D and 3D figures, solve problem involving ratio and proportion, appropriate measurement unit for real-world problems, solve real-world problems. And let's look at the 2 examples, one example for each competency.
All right, so typical purchase. They have a laptop, so let's see. The laptop is going to cost us $1,200, and the printer is normally $300. But this particular store has a promotion that offers a 40% discount. So now the trick on this question is remembering that if you're paying $300, you're paying 100% of the price. But they're going to give you a 40% discount. So you're only going to pay 60% of the original price. Now, to do math, we need to go ahead and convert this to a decimal since you'll be given only a 4-function calculator. So if you remember, you can divide this by 100, or you can take it and move that decimal point 2 places to the left. So we have the 1200 for the laptop, and then the 300 is going to get multiplied by the 0.6. So this printer is now only going to cost us $180. So our total bill, $13.80. So you can see that that is option number 2. So here you had to have the number sense of how to change from a percent to a decimal, and remembering that you need to subtract from 100 to get what percent you're actually still having to pay. So this is the skill about adding whole numbers and applying percent to calculate discounts. All right, this competency 2, one of the great problems that they give us is something that we might be able to use in our own homes as we move forwards. They're going to put square yards of carpet on a rectangular floor. Now, I noticed they're talking square yards. All the answers are in square yards. But look at how they give us the measurement for our rectangle. They're saying 15 feet and 9 feet. We don't want to keep these in feet because feet is not the unit that they want to finish up. On your resource page, it does tell you that 1 yard is 3 feet. So what we're going to do is convert each of these measurements to yards. So 15 feet divided by 3 feet gives us 5 yards. And then the 9 feet divided by 3 feet gives us 3 yards. So when I go to figure the area of this, area is length times width. So that is on your formula sheet. And then you'll have 5 yards times 3 yards, which gives you the 15 yards squared. And you can see that is option B. The trick is they like to play with units. So watch that when you're doing these application problems. So this one would be the skill where you're looking at real world measurement problems, fundamental skills, and unit conversions.
Yes, now let's talk about the competency 3 and 4. And competency 3 is knowledge of algebraic thinking and the coordinate plane. And as you see on the top, we have a graph. That means we have to identify graph and be able to graph a function as well. Identify inequality that represent a real world situation, solve equations and inequalities, interpret features of equation and graph, identify relations that are functions, analyze real world relationships. On competency 4, we focus on statistics and probability, data interpretation. Identify types of data, analyze and read and evaluate how data leads to interpretations, and find the real interpretation depending on the case. Calculate on and interpret measures of central tendency, and solve and interpret real-world problems using tables and trees. And let's look at one example for each one.
All right, so competency 3 is talking about buying a phone, I believe it is. Yes, a phone. And so they're making a down payment of $250, and then each month they're paying $60. So I can work this out as a math problem, or part of this test, the GK test, is about using test strategies. So at this point, if I stop and think about it, I'm only going to pay the $250 one time. So if I look at the formulas or the functions that they've come up with, only one of them has the $250 showing up one time, not being multiplied by any other number or letter. So in this case, I could do the math and go back to what we know about, say, y equals mx plus b, and the b is the base cost, which is that $250. And the number of months and the cost per month. So I could come up with this function. Or, like I said, using a little bit of strategies, I could stop right here and use some of this time on a different problem. So this skill is applying linear, quadratic, or exponential functions to model and analyze real-world relationships. Competency 4 was the data and statistics models. And so when we go to look at this problem, this is a company's human resource department, and they're tracking the percent of employees out sick. You can see that here. This is the sick and the relative humidity in the building. So this one is the humidity. So now remember, they have not done a study that says if your humidity is high, you're sick. There's no causality being implied here. They just tracked how many people were out sick and the humidity in the building. And so you can see as the humidity goes up, the amount of people who are sick also increases. So this is more of a trend. We look at this. So as you look at your choices, nothing about this says humidity causes people to be sick, so we can eliminate that. Nothing says definitively that people are getting sick from mold and mildew in the building, so we can eliminate that. And there's nothing even mentioned about the number of overcast, sunny, sunless days, so we can eliminate that. So if you understand what the graph is giving you, you can see that when more employees are out sick, the humidity tends to be high, is all that we can infer from this particular graph. So this skill was analyzing and evaluating how the presentation of data can lead to different or inappropriate interpretations in real-world context.
All right. Now we have been exposed to the competencies, and also we have general information about the test. And let's give you some information about the learning commons operation, hours of operation. And we will open Monday to Friday to Thursday. We open Monday to Friday, but Monday to Thursday, that will be 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And on Friday, this is 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. And since we're talking about math, we are located at on the first floor, and you can call 850-218-251, and you can talk to either Vera Myers or Jonathan Petit, and we offer math support. We have study space as well, and also we have access to computers and printers.
All right, now that Jonathan has told you a little bit about the building and the hours, I want to tell you about the different ways you can receive help. You can come in to the building and get face-to-face help, use the resources and just study here, or you can get a Zoom session from one of the tutors also. You sign in the same way for either one. So if you go to the main TCC homepage and then the search box, just type in Learning Commons, and it will be the first listing that pops up. And on that page, in about the middle, you're going to be looking for a button that says Ready to Meet with a Tutor. When you click that to join the wait list, it will ask you why you're here, who you are, and what kind of session that you want. If you sign up for an online session, the receptionist will call to verify and remind you to watch your TCC email for that link for that session. All right, well, thank you for joining us here for the workshop, and we hope that your journey to pass and conquer the GK is very successful.